We're now in the 12th Perek of Shmuel Aleph. In this Perek, Shmuel, his life is slowly winding down, and he is speaking to all of the Bnei Israel. Now we know that this Perek, the prior two psukim of last Perek, are all the Haftorah for Parshas Korach, because Shmuel was a descendant of Korach. And here he is holding Kol Yisrael together. Kol Yisrael is very significant. That is part of what he dedicated his whole life to do. Remember, he went as someone who went from place to place, making sure that all the Bnei Israel, adjudicating all of their issues and bringing them closer to Hashem, being Adam Makom, between man and Hashem, and being Adam Chaver, between man and his fellow man. And so he worked very hard to call Yisrael. So it's very significant that he's bringing all the Bnei Israel. And he says, really, I did everything that you asked for. Shamati b'kochem l'chol asher amartem li. Whatever you did, whatever you wanted from me, that's what I did. Va'amilcha alecha melech, and I gave you a king. He really hasn't fully let that point go. But the king is mitalech lefanechem. The king is going to go in front of you. Va'ani zakanti v'savati. I am old and gray. Banai hinam. But my sons, they're with you. My family. Remember, he goes, and some of the Mefarshim say that he brought his family with from place to place. Va'ani hitalachti lefnechem minurai ad hayom hazeh. And I have been your leader, and I have done everything for you from the time I was little until now. Now he's saying zakanti v'savti, meaning zakin, that he has really dedicated his heart and soul to keeping the way of Hashem and to being the leader for the people. This was his lifelong project. He loves the people. He dedicated, he did everything so the people could come to Hashem in the strongest way. He literally dedicated himself. And so when he's saying that I became old and gray from it, he really does mean it. Now, he says, there is no way, anu bi neged Hashem b'neged Mashiach. No one can testify against me in the presence of Hashem, in the presence that I have taken a chamor, that I have taken that I have defrauded anyone or robbed anyone or bribed anyone. If anyone can prove it, then I'll return it to you. Now, this idea is the same idea as what Moshe said when he spoke to the people of Korach. Remember, in that rebellion, he said, I didn't take anything from you. And so Moshe Rabbeinu is saying the exact same thing. Now, just getting back to one point in Pasuk Beis, when it says, V'hinei va'ata, and now, Hinei hamelech mitalech lefanechem. The king will be your leader. I'm not going to be your leader anymore. I'm old, and my kids aren't following in my footsteps. Everything is really going to be this king. Mitalech comes from the words mate and holech, right? Death and coming. And what is that? That we know that that later on in a few prakim, Shaul is going to need Shmuel, and he's going to bring him back to life. So this alludes to the idea, that story of what's happened, of what will happen. But ultimately, Shaul is very, very special, because Shaul, in that circumstance, knows that he is going to die in battle with his sons, and yet he still goes out to battle with his sons. So, there's a hint that what is being alluded to is what happens with Shaul, that Shaul is actually very dedicated, just like Shmuel was dedicated and completely believed in Hashem. Now, and so too, Shmuel is saying, I did everything. and if anyone has a taina against me, then say something about it. But but nothing. I have done absolutely nothing that I could ever be upset or feel like I could be accused of. So va'amru, and they said, Lo askatanu, v'lo ratzatanu. You didn't defraud us, you didn't rob us, v'lo lakachta miyad ish muma, and you took nothing from us. And then he said, Hashem is a witness that that you wanted this king, and that that Vayomer Eid Hashem Bachem, Hashem is with me, Eid Meshicho, Hayom Hazeh Ki Lo Matzatem Biyadi Me'uma. That nothing, you could not have found anything in my possession that I took or that I did anything wrong. Vayomer Eid. And they say, no, Hashem is the witness. And the Mefarshim talk about, why doesn't it say Vayomer Eid? Why doesn't it say Vayomru Eid? Because multiple people are speaking. The whole Klal Yisrael could be speaking. So either we have this beautiful concept of Ish Echad B'Lev Echad, or this is one of 3 instances in the whole of Tanakh where a baskol, Hashem himself, comes to clarify. One was when it came to Yehuda and Tamar, whether she was innocent. The second is here, and the third is going to be with Shlomo, when Shlomo had the story with whether he had to cut, when he offered to the ladies, there's a story about the baby, who it belongs to. I know, I'll just cut the baby in half. So the baskol had clarified that yes, it was indeed her child. So we have here that that Hashem is even getting involved, because Hashem just wants to make sure that everything is good with his beloved Shmuel. And Shmuel says to the people, Hashem Asher asa es Moshe ves Aaron ve'asher ha'aleh es avosecha me'eretz Mitzrayim. So he speaks about Moshe and Aaron, and the ancestors that were brought out of Mitzrayim. Why is that significant? Well, we have an understanding. Moshe Aaron b'kohanav u'Shmuel b'karei Shemo. We compare Shmuel and how great he was to Moshe and Aaron. So it's interesting to have him as the highlighting Moshe and Aaron. And now again, he mentions about the forefathers and all the chesed that was done to the Bnei Israel, and that just like when Yaakov came to Mitzrayim, and people cried out, and then Hashem said Moshe and Aaron, and then he took them out of Mitzrayim, and then Vayeshvim b'makom hazeh, and we came all the way full circle to where we are right now, where we're settled in the land. And what happens? And he just talks about the ultimate results of things being too good. Vayishkechu es Hashem, and that what ultimately happens in the sequence in this series, in the cycle of what we know to be true, is that when times are good, we forget Hashem. And when times were good and they forgot Hashem, so what Hashem do? Hashem put them in the hands of Sisera and the Plishtim and Moab, and everyone can fight against him. As we've said many a times, if the Jews don't make Kiddush and they don't do things Makadesh and they don't do things correctly, then what happens? Hashem sends Havdalah. And this is the fight, and that's what exactly happened. Hashem was great to them. They forgot Hashem. Hashem sent the enemy, Vayizaku el Hashem, and they cried. But what was beautiful is when they cried, they don't just cry. They cry chatanu. They take ownership of what they did. They're close enough to the Shekhinah, they're on holy enough level that they understand, okay, you're right. A parent's nightmare is when a kid always argues and never even backs down. And doesn't apologize and doesn't do anything to just promote flexibility. Here, we're so sorry. We know exactly what we did. We left Hashem, b'avodah ba'alim, ba'ashros, and we did all this avodah zara. And now hitzilanu miyad oivenu b'navdaka. Please, you don't understand. We're so sorry. We did wrong. So please, just save us from the hands of our of our enemies, and we will totally be on your side then, Hashem. Vayishlach Hashem. And so this happens many a times in the Sefer Shoftim. And what happens? We got Yerubbaal, we have Bedan, we have Yittach, we have Shmuel. So we have plenty of people that have been really helpful in being Shmuel and being the shofet by Yetzel Eschem Miyad Oivehem Saviv. And as a result, when we were good, what did Hashem do? He delivered our enemies in our hands. V'tishvu betach, and we felt very secure. But then when you saw Nachash, the king of Ammon, you said, "Oh no, we need to have a king," even though Hashem Aleichem Malkechem. Yeah, you really want to have a king? You think a king is going to help you so much? It's really Hashem who would be helping you. And so, Ba'atahine Hamelach Asher Bachartem Asher Sha'altem B'nei Natan Hashem Aleichem Melach. This is another kindness. This is another goodness. This is something that you got. You didn't even deserve it. And what Hashem do? Hashem gave you the opportunity to have a king. And so, but you think that a king is everything. You think that a king is going to give you a shield to protect you from everything. Im lo tishmu b'kol Hashem, if you don't listen to Hashem, umar risem sp Hashem, and vahisa yad Hashem b'chem ba'avosechem, you are going to be punished if you don't listen to the way of Hashem, and you rebel in any sort of way. Then Hashem is going to strike you as He did to the Avos, or to your relatives who seemingly, did good and then did bad. So stand up for yourselves. Gam atahi tiatvu u're'u es davar hagadol hazeh. Now stand up and see exactly what Hashem has done before your eyes. Why does it say Re'u? So we have the idea, it's really important to highlight that, of course, Re'iyah is Yoter Shema. It's definitely better to see something. It's, seeing is believing a lot more than just hearing about it. And so Shmuel is insisting that they see it, that they experience it, that they really own it. And so to do that, he is going to put something very important. He's going to do some sort of magic trick. And through obviously Hashem is going to be doing the magic trick. And what is it? It's a concrete representation of that Hashem is going to make them successful. And that is that in the season, in the summer, the Hashem, Shmuel says, I'm gonna daven to Hashem to send thunder and rain, which was something unheard of because there was nothing, and then you're gonna realize, oh, you know what, maybe I shouldn't have asked really for a king, and that maybe it wasn't such a good idea. Ki re'isim rabba es asher asisim be'inei Hashem l'shol lachem melech. That really was not a good thing. It was a wicked thing. I should never have asked. Asking was not very good. And by Shmuel al Hashem, and Shmuel davens to Hashem, B'eitin Hashem kolos umatar bayom hahu, and on that day, he sent thunder and rain. Vayira kol ha'am ma'od, and all the people are afraid. As Hashem ve'es Shmuel, they stood in awe of Hashem and also of Shmuel. Shmuel is a walking Kiddush Hashem, and that works out. Vayomer Shmuel ha'am, and the people said, Al tira, do not worry. Ach al tasur machavei Hashem, just listen to Hashem with all your heart and with all your soul. Don't worry about what happened in the past. Just listen, and don't turn away. V'lo tasuru ki acharei hatohu asher lo ya'ilu v'lo yitzalu ki tohu hema. Don't turn away from to follow worthless things, which is not going to give you anything, nothing profit. There's no profit, no saving. It's all worthless. Because Hashem, His name is great, and He would never abandon and leave His people. No way. Hashem really wants to make you into His people, Nivchar, that are the highest level. He really believes in you. He loves you, and so he accepted and he gave you a king, with a full heart. But you should just know that if you don't listen, that's it. Nothing will happen. Everything will be worthless. Just because you have Hashem, quote unquote, by your side, it doesn't mean anything. And so I'm going to try as hard as I can. I don't want to sin, and stop davening from you. And I will continue to do everything that I can for Tova v'Yishara, that it should be good. Achirus Hashem. But above all, remember, don't fear. It's not about me. So, okay, I'm davening for you guys, for good things. But you should just know, it's not me, right? But rather Hashem. Yiruas Hashem. Fear or love Hashem. And really just serve Him with all your heart. Because you have to consider just, what you've been given. And if you're going to continue to do bad, everyone's going to be swept away. Any bad that you do, any bad that your family does, it's all going to come and end up not being in your favor. So it's really important to highlight here that Shmuel is saying his goodbye. Part of his goodbye is that he's admitting that if there's any possible way that he could have hurt anybody as being a politician, being a Navi, that he apologizes. But then he also tries to tell them about this Galgal HaChozer that we've discussed throughout the whole Sefer of Shoftim. And that is that you do good, you get good. You don't do well, you don't get well. There's no permutation. You can't make up a dress and it has to be. It's really important to recognize and to make sure that you understand that whatever you do well with a full heart towards Hashem recognizes and rewards. But if you don't do, then just because you have a king doesn't protect you. You asked me for a king, I gave it to you, but it is not the protection. A king is a concrete representation of Hashem in this world, and you give the king respect, or you give that is very significant. But it is by no means going to be, that the kingship is going to do what it is that they're asking of the kingship. We're going to see in the subsequent Prakim just how much the kingdom can do for the Bnei Israel. But here is a situation where Shmuel is recognizing that, that people have to come together in this, that he wants to make sure that everybody, understands his innocence and in all matters that just didn't pertain to him. And overall, just to recognize that, there's nothing that we can have, no rabbi's input or school of things or anything like that. If it's not from Hashem, then it really doesn't mean very much. And we're going to see, as Shmuel, remember, he's prematurely gray, has, a lot of weakness and feebleness at this moment, but he really truly has dedicated his entire life to Klal Yisrael. And that is obviously a huge feat and something really that we're, as we're saying goodbye to Shmuel, let's just reflect on just what an amazing human being he showed himself to be.